Alright, Predator Badlands just came out, so I'm going to go through each Predator movie on Rotten Tomatoes in release date and look at their scores and see if I think it's overrated, underrated, or if the critics got it just right. And I'll just add here, I have not looked up these scores ahead of time. I don't know what they are, so I will be reacting to it in live time. Alright, the original Predator 1987 has a 64% on Rotten Tomatoes. The consensus is part sci-fi, part horror, part action, all muscle. Fair enough. I think it's a little underrated here. Only 64% of the critics who watched this movie liked it. I feel like this is a classic. I was expecting this to be much higher, so I'm going with underrated for the first one. Alright, Predator 2. We got a 36%. Let's look at the consensus here. The thrill of the hunt is gone in this hackneyed sequel. Fair enough. I feel like Predator 2 is fun. It's definitely over the top and silly, but I think it's extremely entertaining. 36%, that's a little low. I'd expect it to be a little higher. I guess I was expecting something at 50%. I would guess like half the people watching it liked it, but it was less than that. So I'm going to go with a little underrated here. Alright, next up, 2004, Alien vs. Predator. This has a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes. And our consensus is... gore without scares and cardboard cutout characters make this Clash of the Monsters a dull sit. This movie definitely has its flaws. I would see why most people do not like this movie. For me, I think it's a xenomorph fighting a predator is entertaining enough on its own that where I have a good time out of it. I enjoy watching this, so I'm gonna say underrated. All right, next up we have Alien vs. Predator Requiem. This has a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. The consensus. The increased gore and violence over the first Alien vs. Predator can't excuse Requiem's disorienting editing, excessively murky lighting, and lack of new ideas. They're spot on. This rating is well deserved. I would guess most people who watch this movie would not like it. I think 12% is a fair rating. I mean, you can't see what's going on at all. I don't see how anyone would enjoy this or recommend it. I do think it's a cool concept of a hybrid predator xenomorph, but if you can't see what's going on, then how can you enjoy the movie? Alright, next up we have Predators, and Predators has a 65% Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty good. I was expecting it to be lower. The consensus is after a string of subpar sequels, the bloody action-packed reboot takes Predator franchise back to its testosterone-fueled roots. I think that's a good take, and I enjoy this movie a lot. I think it's got some awesome entertaining sequences. They're kind of going back to the roots here again with the original Predator, setting in a jungle. I think Adrian Brody does a great job as the leading man in this one, and the cast is really great. The idea of multiple predators hunting, that's very cool. And I like the little one-on-one predator fight scene we got. I thought that was awesome. They were trying to recreate the magic of the first a little too much by forcing some of the iconic lines from that movie into this one. I'll say 65%, that's a fair rating. Next up is 2018 The Predator. This has a 34% on Rotten Tomatoes. The consensus is The Predator has violence and quips to spare, but its chaotically hollow action adds up to another missed opportunity for a franchise increasingly defined by disappointment. I did not enjoy this movie. I think this is one of the worst Predator sequels. I think it's kind of a mess of a movie, so I would say 34%. That is a fair rating. I think they're just right here, and honestly, I kind of expected it to be lower than 34%, so higher than I thought, but yeah, I'd say that's fair. All right, next up is 2022's Prey. This has a 94% Rotten Tomatoes. The rare action thriller that spikes adrenaline without skimping on character development, Prey is a Predator prequel done right. Yeah, I enjoy this movie a lot. I think it's one of the better Predator sequels. I think it's executed very well in their premise, kind of going back to basics, but switching it up just enough to be fresh, creative, new. 94% is pretty high. Maybe a tad overrated. Yeah, I'll go with. I was kind of leaning towards overrated, but I'll say that's fair. All right, next up we have Predator: Killer of Killers. This is the animated film that came out earlier this year. We have a 95% Rotten Tomatoes. The consensus is plunking the Predator into a series of inspired matchups with a striking visual palette. Killer of Killers is a lean, mean, and just plain awesome addition to the iconic sci-fi franchise. I really enjoyed this movie, especially for an animated movie. Think they did a fantastic job. The concept is fantastic, bringing the best killers of humankind throughout different points in history versus a Predator, and then coming together at the end for that kind of mashup of the three. I thought it was very well done, so I'll say this is a fair rating, 95%. And lastly, Predator: Badlands. And it has an 85% Rotten Tomatoes. And the consensus is director Dan Trachtenberg continues to take the Predator franchise in exciting new directions with Badlands, a rollicking adventure that transformed one of cinema's most iconic brutes into a hero worth rooting for. I think that's pretty spot on. I love this movie. I thought it was such a creative new way to take the Predator franchise. Hasn't been done before. We're used to that survival movie formula from the Predator franchise, and this is a completely different action film. I think they pulled it off. They pulled it all together really well. This is one of my favorite movies of the year for sure, and I would say 85%, that's a fair rating. Yeah, that is fair. So what are your guys' thoughts on these Rotten Tomatoes scores? What movies do you guys think are overrated, underrated, or did the critics get right? Let me know down in the comments below. And of course, follow, like, and subscribe for more videos like this.